Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast, brought to you by the Healing Institute. I'm Parmelia Parham, and I'm the founder of the Healing Institute, and we are a worldwide online hub of holistic practitioners. We are available for people. We want to give people hope. We want people to know that there are ways to be well and stay well on your health journey, because let's face it, we're all on a health journey. So let's make it a proactive health journey, and let's create a proactive wellness society. I think we've been a reactive illness society way too long, so it's time to change that paradigm. So I always tell a little story about why this is so important for me, because we had a tragedy in our family a number of years ago when my mom passed away at a very young age. And it was due to complications with her kidneys because she'd been on a medication for a very long time. And not only was it a tragedy that she died so young, but I was 5 months pregnant with my son, my first child, and my children didn't get to meet their grandmother. And I just think that's so sad. So I don't want that happening for any other families. So when I was thinking about putting together a platform for holistic practitioners, I was meeting people all over the world on different networking platforms. And I was like, oh, wow, we could do this globally. We could do this virtually. And so that is how the Healing Institute was created. And I called it an institute because I'm really passionate about educating people about how to be well and how to stay well. And so today, I'm delighted to have our practitioners that are on the site coming to talk to you today. Now, May is Women's Health Month. It's a few other celebrations in the month as well, but we are celebrating Women's Health Month, and we're going to be talking about women's health on today's podcast. Today's podcast is actually our 90th podcast. I've been doing this now for a year and a half. So I'm very, very
Congratulations.
excited that we're,
Yay!
90, 90. Wow. And so we showcase it on different social platforms so that people know that we are here and that we are available. And we are just really excited about the opportunity to come to you, all of us, to come to you today and to talk to you about health, and specifically women's health. So I'm going to say welcome. Welcome to Marie Piplovic. Welcome to Reverend Dr. Kimmy, and welcome to Al-Marie Shute. Now, Marie and Reverend Dr. Kimmy are in the United States. I'm in Canada, and Al-Marie's in South Africa. So we are really working our way to be global. And we have a number of other practitioners waiting in the wings to be part of our platform. So we're very, very excited about that. So Marie, let's start with you. Now, you do a number of things, but one of the things that you have on the Healing Institute platform is your breathing package. So you are a conscious breathing facilitator. Tell people a
Yeah,
little bit more about you.
yeah. Well, really, I focus on guiding working women in midlife to stop that cycle of burnout that we tend to get into, whether we want to or not, and to reconnect with our inner power, make space for healing, and reclaim our joy, focus, and zest for life. And so the foundation of what I do is that conscious breathing. So I bring conscious breathing as kind of that base, and then beyond that I'll add in other tools depending on what is happening with the woman I'm working with. So there might be some tapping coming in, there might be some other meditation techniques, some energy work. It just depends. And then it also might be that I bring in one of the other practitioners as well.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, Reverend Dr. Kimmy, tell us about you. And I know you have a tool chest of many different things, but tell us about that.
Well, with me, it is basically about wholeness. We're all trying to search to be whole, and that's part of our divine imprint. We're learning to be whole in our bodies and in the world. So part of my thing is not only am I an energy healer or a vibrational practitioner, it's also about talking with someone and helping them reach their full potential, tap into their divine inside, their true power, and really reclaim their power. And I do work mostly with women, but it's really about reclaiming your power and understanding that you are a powerful being. Now, when it comes to the energy healing, a lot of times we forget that pain is as an indicator of energetic blockages.
Mhm.
So my job is to help you both alchemize it internally and also mentally with tools that help you
Great.
think about things that are you may be holding yourself back in different areas. So it's kind of a combination. And so it depends, like Marie said, it just really depends on the woman I'm working with or the person I'm working with, because I have different tools for different uses.
And when you're helping people with that internal and that mental and emotional, well, of course, you're helping it with physical as well, right? Because
Right.
it's gonna have a reaction.
Right. When you
to
start
it.
working on your inner self, a lot of times pain comes up in the body,
Mhm.
or the reverse is true. I can have a client where you're doing a healing session on them energetically, and then that brings up the actual true problem, and then they're having an emotional release of it later.
Mhm.
So that's how your body alchemizes things. You're helping your nervous system that way.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about holistic practices and what all of you do is because we're getting to the root cause of what's going on with the person. I believe that our medical model that we've had for the last 50 years, the reason it's not working is because we only ever were being dealt with the symptom and not really getting to the root cause. And that's what I really want people to take that away with them about the fact that they are definitely, or we as holistic practitioners, when we work with a client, we are working to find that root cause. And sometimes, as you said, Kimmy, we have to go deep. We have to find out where it is. And oftentimes other things, there'll be other reactions, like a physical reaction or an emotional reaction. So wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So Almarie, all the way from South Africa. So wonderful to have you here today. So tell
Thank
us
you.
about, now you're a boundaries coach. You call yourself a boundaries coach. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, thank you, Pamelia. I also like to work with women. Not that I don't like to work with men, but especially now in Women's Month, we should realize that we as women are created, perhaps, and programmed to serve. And oftentimes we lose ourselves in that serving. We don't know where to serve or where to stop, how to serve, and especially how to take care of ourselves to be able to serve. And that's what I like to help women especially with, is creating boundaries around serving, and then creating boundaries around what do we say to ourselves? How do we treat ourselves? So I am creating boundaries to have better, I'm helping people, not creating. You are doing the work. If you are working with me, you are doing the work. I'm facilitating you to create boundaries, to take better care of yourself, to be honest with yourself, to be truthful to yourself. Because if you are, like you say, what is the root cause of things? If you're looking at the root cause of things, oftentimes we are not truthful in looking at, if I'm doing this, am I saying yes to myself, or am I saying no to myself? Oftentimes we will say yes to everyone else. And
Don't
we
say
have
yes
to
to
remember.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to
Exactly.
remember, when you say yes to something, you are saying no to yourself. So how often do we say no to ourselves by saying yes to other people? And that brings us also, like Marie is working with women on on the edge of burnout, or have reached burnout, and boundaries also. Not having boundaries is taking you to burnout as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely,
Exactly.
for sure. And as women, I think that we have kind of been programmed to be this, to do the serving, to always be in service to others. I know I was raised that if I did anything for myself, it was being selfish and self-centered. And now we know that that is totally untrue. And, you
Okay.
know, we use the analogy of putting the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help anybody else on an airplane.
Yes.
And that's what we have to do for ourselves. We have to
Okay.
look after ourselves first. So that was a huge paradigm shift for me, because that came all 2 generations from my grandmother, who I'm named after, and my mother. So it was when I finally got to the realization that if I wasn't looking after me, it wasn't being selfish or self-centered, because by putting in those boundaries in those places that I could then say no, and serve myself, then I had the capability of serving others. But first of all,
Exactly, yes.
I had to put those
Yeah.
boundaries in place. So
Yeah.
important,
Yeah.
so important to have those boundaries in place. And society, you know, it's not just our upbringing, but society also has certain expectations of us as women. So it's wonderful. I believe that we really need to, you need to often do some inner work first. And I know we've all, you know, knowing all your stories, and you know my story, we've all had to do that inner work first
Yeah.
to then get to the place where we can now help others.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even though I'm the founder and the CFO of or CEO of the Healing Institute, I'm also a practitioner. And my main modality is the body code. And this is looking at trapped emotions or balls of negative energy that are stuck in the subconscious, and how they can create havoc on our physical and our physical health and mental health and emotional health. So the procedure was created by a doctor, Dr. Bradley Nelson. If anybody's listening, they want to check him out. And it's called the body code. There's also the emotion code, which is like the first level, but really that's just the chart of the 60 trapped emotions that we use when we're helping clients release those trapped emotions. And it's so very important, because if we don't look at those emotions that are trapped in the subconscious, they are going to create dis-ease. And so many people that I've talked to over the years, I've been certified in this modality now since, well, the emotion code since 2018 and the body code since 2019. So the clients that I've seen that really have physical issues, those are the ones that have these trapped emotions. So, you know, I mean, we're a whole person, right? So we work on our emotions, or we work on our emotional health, our mental health, our spiritual health, our physical health. We're one pretty dynamic person. And so it all interrelates. So we definitely, when we're working on one thing, is going to interrelate with something. It's going to connect with something else. So I'm going to go, we're going to go around again. And if you can just maybe, our listeners like to know about a client that you've worked with and the results of working with you. So Marie, let's start with you.
Okay. Well, I have a client that I've been working with for quite some time now, and she can do it on her own. I mean, she has the tools she needs, and she says, I want you. I want that. She wants that support, even though she can do it on her own. She does do it on her own. But the results that she's getting are things like she can go in for a doctor's appointment, and her blood pressure, because all of us, when we walk into that doctor's appointment, our blood pressure
White coat
spikes.
syndrome.
Right. And it'll spike, and she'll say, give me 5 minutes, and they'll walk out, they'll come back in, she'll do some breath work, they'll come back in, it'll be down. And so she can do things like that. Her she's had a recent surgery, and she is now in recovery, and she is only taking a little bit of Tylenol, and she says, I feel like it's the work that I do with you that's helped me to learn to be more present in my body, to help me to be more tuned into my breath, how I use my breath, that I believe in her mind. She believes that has helped, and it's supporting her recovery so that she isn't having to take the real hardcore drugs for pain.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So
Yes. Reverend Dr. Kimmy, tell us about a client of yours and their results.
Well, I do have one client that's ongoing off and on, and the main reason for her pain is that she has hereditary type of issues where, and it's a very rare thing, and I always blank out on the thing, but it basically her body doesn't like her joints don't like have that structure to hold. It's almost like instead of she almost needs like binder clips, if you will, as opposed to how it's very loose. So she gets these
Okay.
just bone pains and joint pains. So doing energy work with her does alleviate the pain,
Mhm.
but doing more research that I've been doing lately on just metaphysical manifestations of things that are definitely, if it's in your family, it has ancestral
Yes,
trauma,
definitely.
right? So I've
Absolutely.
been working with my recent more vibrational medicine to try to see if I can give her more relief in that way. And so that's a work in progress. But when she does come to me, it's more or less to ease the pain. She's not a big person on drugs. And I don't think a lot of our clients really are. Sometimes
No.
I'm not even one.
They like to, they definitely like to stay away from as much medication as they can.
Right, because medications are just masks. They don't really help anything. They make you feel better for like maybe 20 minutes or so. But so I've been working with her on that. And so that's my goal is to get something that's vibrational that will help clear that ancestral trauma a little bit so she can get
Right.
more relief. But currently it's more or less just so she can manage her pain without being overwhelmed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's so very important for that. For people to realize that they can, in fact, our bodies are amazing. They're amazing. We're structured. Like it's truly a miracle. But we also need to learn about how we can support our bodies. And that hasn't been, at least in my experience, that hasn't been something sort of mainstream society has done. And certainly the old medical model, you just went to the doctor could fix you, or, give you what they thought that you needed to have. And now we're finding out, because we're getting more information all the time, we're finding out more about the new science and what really happens with our bodies. And also, there's way more information now about side effects on medication, which, my mother did not have that. So, so she had no clue that that her kidneys were going to be compromised because of taking this medication that she was on and taking it for a long time. So I often encourage people, well, I always encourage people to do your research, find out if you're being offered something, find out what the side effects are. We actually are our own best doctor, really. So because we're in this body, so we know when it's working and when it's not working. So it's very, very important for us to, now that there is information out there, this was over 30 years ago when my mom passed away. So we didn't even have Google back then.
Yeah.
So, there was, and she was very well read. She read lots of things and lots of medical magazines and things like that. But, we did, the information just wasn't as readily available as it is now. So Almarie, tell us about one of your clients and the results they've had from working with you.
Yes, well, I'd like to offer a question first.
Okay.
Anyone in the room had a bad hair day recently?
Bad a what? A what?
Bad hair day.
A bad hair day.
A bad hair
Yes.
day? Oh, I have a bad hair day.
I have
at
them all
least
the time. I just
once a
throw
day.
a bonnet on.
all the time.
So
You ever see me covered
I know
up?
where
That's a bad
Almarie's
hair
going
day.
with this because I've seen her post on LinkedIn. So take it away, Almarie. I love this.
Yes, well, so there's this post that Pamelia really likes. I'm going to share this first before I share about my client, because it's about hair and bad hair days. So I have this post where I just wash my hair and I put colors in my hair, and then I put the photo on, and it says, I say, like, I feel pretty. You know that song, I feel pretty, oh so pretty.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I have this post with me with colors in my hair, no makeup, nothing, and that's my post.
She's a
because
very
I feel
brave
pretty.
woman.
Yes.
But I have this client, well, we are not working together anymore, because we moved on. But she had this idea that she had really curly hair and she didn't really know what to do with this hair. Every now and then she will change the hairstyle and she'll try something different, and then she'll straighten, and then she'll perm, and then she'll do this and this. And as a young adult, she tried a lot of styles, and then the next day, if the style didn't work, she shaved off the hair. She says, because hair grows again.
So
And
she
then we
shaved the whole,
That's
all her
dramatic.
whole head.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's so dramatic. I thought I was dramatic. That's dramatic.
Well, that's another brave woman, eh?
Yes,
That
that's
is a brave
woman.
woman. Absolutely.
Yes. So we dug deeper into this. I started questioning about this, and we dug deeper into this. And then we realized, apologies, she wasn't acknowledged as a woman, as a young woman. In her growing up, she was always put down, and like when she changed the hairstyle, it was like, why are you spending money on this? Or when she did something to feel pretty or look pretty, she was put down. And then that's where it started. It started like, kind of, am I going to be approved for this hairstyle? And then if it doesn't feel like that, it doesn't work like that, then she just shave it off, because it's not, maybe it was brave, but maybe it was also like, let's just put this away. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm going to move on from this. And then we realized that is something, that's a boundary that she didn't have. She didn't have the idea of, I am beautiful no matter what. And then I offered this boundary to her. I said to her, I'm beautiful, full stop. There's nothing that can change my beauty. I can have colors in my hair. I can have a real big afro style of hair, or I can have my hair straightened. It doesn't change my beauty. I am beautiful.
Because you're beautiful inside, from the inside out.
Yes. And that made a difference to her. That was the
Awesome.
switch she needed. So that's the boundary I offered to her, and that worked very well for her.
Yes, it's so many times I feel that as women, we hold ourselves back, but it comes from a pattern of also that just not being approved of, not being celebrated for who we are. You know, oftentimes in our families, growing up, we had to be a certain way, because that was expected. It was expected that we would be a certain way. And I've heard many families talk about, when there's more, more siblings in the family, more children, well, this person has got that trait, and another person has got that trait. And oftentimes, if you're told that at a very young age for a very long time, even though it may not fit for you personally, you take on that trait. So yeah, we have to be very, very, very conscious of what happens when society or families are trying to put us in a square hole, in a round peg in a square hole. It doesn't work. And most of us. Go ahead.
Sorry, oftentimes in family dynamics, you take on that role because then you are accepted.
Yes.
Then you belong.
Exactly.
And it's so sad, because you shouldn't belong only for something that someone put on you. You should belong because love should be unconditional.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that is one of the things that women tend to get trapped in, that whole conditional love spiral, because we feel like, and now with my family, I was totally accepted, but mine was more of a society thing, because my parents, I was lucky, let me be who I am. But society and children and other things were forcing me into like, okay, you need to shrink all of you, and you're too much, or you're too this, or you're too that. So we hold all of that in. That becomes pent up emotions, which causes all this drama. But when it comes to love, because we're holding everything in, we don't think that we're able to be loved unconditionally. We think everyone has conditions. And a lot of times society has conditions.
They have put conditions.
Right.
Yeah.
But we need to remember that we should not have any conditions on ourselves. And that's like when El Marie about the boundaries, when
Mhm.
you set that no, love me like I am boundary for yourself, you're going to get that back. And we
And
get
that,
It-
yeah.
trapped.
It is important to put that boundary for yourself, because
Mhm.
it's not worth getting it from anyone else, because then that's not sustainable.
Right.
Right.
Someone's
then
going to get
you're-
upset with you. You're
you're
going to
trying
get
to
upset
be-
with
yeah,
yourself,
you-
but then but then you have to remind yourself that you love yourself. But someone will get upset with you, and you may feel that that person don't love or accept you anymore, and then you have to be there for yourself.
Yes,
Exactly.
definitely.
Exactly.
And all of
Yeah.
these connect and contribute to that sense of burnout that can happen for all of us. So it all connects together. Everything we do in the Healing Institute is connected. It's, yeah, we offer a way to get down to those deep issues and doingness that we were all taught instead of just being. We offer tools to help folks get to just being who you
Right.
really are, yourself, and starting to love that self in a more cohesive manner.
Cohesive and healthy and more soft.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and as women, I think we forget we love everybody else, but we forget to love ourselves.
Yes.
Or as the feminine energy, I'm not going to say just women, but as a feminine energy, it's that
Right.
that feminine energy has this very global look. We can, in general, the feminine energy can feel the energy of others around them. They're always looking around, being concerned about everyone else. Whereas in general, the masculine energy is direct focused. So we kind of can pull in energy. And I think Reverend Dr. Kimberly, as well as Pramelia, knows, I mean, they would agree that we can pull in energy from others without even
Oh, yeah.
realizing it.
Oh, yes.
And then that
Mm.
contributes to burnout. That contributes to our emotional state. Yeah.
That
And you know,
contributes
when
a
we were
lot.
talking about when we talk about burnout, often we think that it's because of the work that we are, if you're in, a corporate job. But I truly believe it encompasses everything.
Yes,
So
I do too.
even
I
the
agree.
expectations of your family, on your partner, and if you have children, what their expectations are. And so the burnout can be all dimensional,
Mhm.
which
Yes.
it really needs to be healed,
Yeah.
because that's just, again, not going to recognize who we are as individuals, and celebrate us.
I had a little bit of an epiphany last night, and because we're all on our healing journeys, we never stop. And I just had a little epiphany about just some things that I realized that I was holding on to, not because they were still true, but because I still had leftover residue from them. And that's what happens, I think, when you work a corporate job or whatever you're doing and you're having burnout. You may not even realize you're burning yourself out until it's too late sometimes.
Yeah.
And with a corporate job or whatever, you're always absorbing people's energies left and right. So those get intermingled in your energy field, and those can cause you to react different ways. You might have a short temper, and you don't really really have a short temper, but all of a sudden everything's because you start to absorb and pull it all in instead of letting it go. And so when burnout could be so many things, but it's mostly because you're denying your soul. You're denying your soul
Mm.
peace. Like
Yeah.
you're just doing everything and not focusing on you.
Yeah, beautifully said. Absolutely. And the work that I do is with body code. I'll just give a brief example. One of my clients came to me. He was in his 60s, and we'd done some work for a while. He'd come to me for a few other sessions, and then this one time he said, I have this weird shoulder issue, a physical issue, a neck issue, and it's keeping me awake at night. And so in the session, we determined that, and this will also relate to what you said, Kimmy, about ancestral. So this related actually to him back in when he was in his 40s. He lost a job, and it was very traumatic for him because he was kind of the main breadwinner, and he had a young family and a wife and children, and so it was, you know, it was really hard for him to be let go from this job. And so consciously he knew, because we were asking about ages. We do that in the body code process. When we find the trapped emotion, then we ask if, you know, what age were you when this trapped emotion showed up? And so things like, I'm just trying to remember the ones that came up for him, like panic and horror and fear and terror, those kinds of emotions we released. And he knew exactly when we asked the age, what age he was. I didn't know his story specifically about this event. But he said, yeah, I know exactly what that was. And so his body physically had been holding on to those emotions for over 20 years.
Wow.
So
Our
when we
body's trying to protect us, you know?
yeah, our bodies do try to protect us, but also was now telling him, the body was, but by getting this discomfort in his shoulders and his neck, his body was now telling him he had to do something about those emotions.
Yes.
So as soon as we released those emotions, you know, like a day later, he phoned me and said, I had a great sleep last night. So
Nice.
yeah. So we, you know, and I want people to know, if you're listening to this or watching it later, we are a community of holistic practitioners. And that's how I say we differ from other wellness directories. We're not just a list of people and what we do. We get to know each other. So as you can tell, we've been, you know, none of us have met in person, but we've met on Zoom numerous. I know, it's going to happen.
We're gonna do that.
We've met on Zoom numerous times, so we're getting to know each other, and we do that on purpose. We get to know each other so that when a client is coming to the website, they might choose one of us to start. Well, they probably will choose one of us to start. But really, we want people to know you're getting all of us. Because if someone's coming to me for body code work, and I think they can definitely I would recommend them for breathing, to Marie, for Egyptian Reiki. I'm still need to come and get one of those sessions because I'm intrigued about that. And to set boundaries with Almarie. So, you know, we want people to know that we are a community of wellness practitioners. And we really want you to let people know, let your community know, let your colleagues know, let your family know that we are here. We're going to be posting links for everybody's calendar. So I'll be putting that in the show notes so people will know how to get in touch with us. And our motto is service with love. So we really want to extend that unconditional love to people. We really believe in serving, and we really believe in getting, as I mentioned earlier, getting to the root cause of what's going on with people, because that's where the healing will begin. So that's our big ask, is to let your colleagues know, let your family know. Thank you to Marie and Kimmy and Elmarie for being here today to celebrate our very first Friday of the Women's Health Month.
Yes.
Right on. Thank you, Pramelia.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Amelia.
thank you.
Well, I just, you know, we're a family. We really are. So it's just so much fun to hang out with you. We don't do this very often. So have us all on. So I'll have to plan that out more. So we'll get to see each other more often. So thank you everyone for watching and being part of the Heal the World Show podcast today. And we will have another one next Friday with one or two more. I've been able to couple up a few women this month, because there's so many that I have a list of. So I'm trying to see what the topic is and how many people can pop on and talk about what the amazing work that they're doing as holistic practitioners. And so here we have all of you. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Zoe, yes, forgot to mention Zoe.
Yes,
Oh,
you
Marie's
know
cat.
when to enter.
She's gonna say, she's gonna close us out.
Yes.